In a world where boys are expected to become men, many never do. They stay stuck, emotionally stunted, mentally lost, and spiritually hollow. Not because they want to be weak, but because no one showed them how to be strong. Masculinity today is branded toxic, and any attempt to embrace it is met with shame, ridicule, or outright dismissal.
I don't think anybody fucking cares.
But here's the truth. Boys need fathers. Noah was lucky. He had a stepfather, not perfect, not always present, but present enough to pass on some sense of structure, strength, and what it meant to be a man. His biological father, gone, allegedly fled during wartime and never reached out again. No letters, no milk, just absence. But even that flawed masculine presence, it gave Noah a head start into manhood. A head start his friends never got. Some of them never met their fathers. Others, raised in single mother households that coddled them into emotional fragility. Today, those same boys are grown. Some are in gangs, some are in jail, some are fathers themselves, but still children inside. No emotional maturity, no leadership, just broken men raising more broken boys. Meanwhile, we laugh along with shows like Family Guy, where Peter Griffin is a walking symbol of arrested development, a fat, drunk man-child who can't lead his home, can't protect his wife, and lives for jokes and beer. Or SpongeBob, a grown adult, emotionally juvenile, incapable of real confrontation or leadership. Even Fairly Odd Parents once mocked this epidemic in an episode where Timmy Turner's refusal to grow up led to chaos. It's funny on TV, but in real life, it's tragic. Because if a man never grows up, he becomes a prisoner in his own body, alive but never living, aging but never evolving, a shell of who he could have been.
Alright, so the first thing I want you guys to understand is that fatherlessness breeds weakness. When boys grow up without a father in their lives, they tend to have a lack of accountability, discipline, and masculine identity. And the thing is, you guys typically notice like when a boy comes from like a single mother household, he tends to carry on feminine traits more so than masculine traits, because without any type of masculine presence there, basically what happens is the boy is left to his imagination to imagine what a masculine man would look like or act like. And so they adopt this like weird, narrow-minded, macho man worldview, thinking that this is what it means to be a man, when in reality, they have no inkling, no idea of this. And not just that, when I tell you guys this stat, it's gonna be a little bit more interesting. According to what I've seen on Google, in 2023, 25.1% of children under the age of 18 in the US lived in single-parent households. Now, I'm just talking from like the US perspective. There might be other broader numbers in places like the UK, Canada, and other places like that. And this isn't just young boys, but also young girls. And you can see how like this negatively impacts the way kids grow up as they enter things like adulthood and stuff, especially young boys, since this is the topic of this video. Without that masculine figure there, guys become what you call man babies, like how the narrator said in the intro with Peter Griffin, SpongeBob, the dad from Fairly Odd Parents. Like any cartoon character that you can think of that resembles or acts like a kid is what's the reality going on right now, because there's no type of masculine figure out there. And the thing is, masculinity is demonized. And not to even get political and stuff, but people on like the far left tend to demonize things that are seen as masculine traits as toxic masculinity. So for example, if you show things like stoicism, assertiveness, or even showcasing your strength, in fact, I'm gonna show off right now because I got a pump going on, they demonize that and label it as toxic masculinity, because masculinity is at an all-time low. They spread this agenda to make you believe that being a man and being who you are is bad. And when society tells you that you're toxically masculine, it leaves you in a state of confusion and wondering how to really act, because it doesn't make it any better when there's already people telling you that you're toxic if you act like a man, and trying to encourage you to embrace your more feminine characteristics, which is stupid as shit. Because like, again, one, we're not girls and girls are not guys, and there's masculine traits and there's feminine traits. Now, the thing is, you can integrate both, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be like a super macho man and make masculinity your entire personality. But in the same sense, you don't have to like embrace your feminine side and act like this and do all this weird mumbo jumbo stuff just to adhere to other people's expectations and perspective of what it means to be a man. And I tell you this because we're in the age of instant gratification, where comfort is more rampant now more than ever. Like, we're in the most convenient, safest time in all of human history. And although those things are good, it causes men to become more weak and become more docile, you know what I mean? And you're actually wondering, how does this correlate? Well, let me tell you. When there's no level of like discomfort in your life, and there's no level of hardship or things to pursue, and you're constantly being coddled by everybody, and everything's super convenient to you, it forces you to succumb to weakest aspects of yourself. And this is why I say single mother households breed weak men, because you notice a pattern where the more and more you're around feminine people or a feminine society, you're gonna be more feminine in it of yourself, and that's not natural. It's not natural for you to complain a lot. It's not natural for you to act like a girl. You guys know how girls act. You feel what I'm saying? You can tell a girl from a mile away. Now, if you like certain things that girls like, that's cool. But at the end of the day, my thing is like, you don't want to act like something that you're not, just because somebody tells you that being a man is toxic. I don't want to throw some people under the bus, but a lot of my friends grew up in single parent households, typically single mother households, and I've noticed a pattern with them and how they're super emotionally sporadic, and they don't really know how to navigate this world in a way that's conducive to their goals. You know what I mean? So for example, some of them want to become very successful entrepreneurs and to go up in the hierarchy of their careers, but because they're told that they're a man or they exhibit certain masculine traits like assertiveness and all this other stuff, it should be diminished or put down. I'm not even kidding. Like, literally, when I tell you, someone at one of my friend's jobs told them that they could be fired if they showed too much assertiveness. How stupid is that? And not to even bring up the LGBTQ plus community, no hate over there, because my friend wasn't willing to conform to someone else's delusion about, so for example, it was a man pretending to be a woman, but like my friend wasn't trying to play into that narrative and that agenda, so he called that man as what he is, which is a man. Because he didn't adhere to that, bro nearly lost his job, and he had to adhere and apologize to this man who believed he was a woman. And not gonna lie, it made him a little bit more docile and tiptoey on how he talks. You know what I mean? Like, he was a little like fragile, if you will. And I tell you all this because when we live in a society that calls people for their delusions and tells you that bad is good and good is bad, then it leaves people generally confused, men and women alike. And it's like, again, when you have all these instant gratification things here to distract you, like fast food, video game addiction, which I don't want anybody to misconstrue my words. I'm not against video games itself. I'm just against video game addiction and people who utilize it to escape reality. You're not forced to grow. And without challenge, men or people in general remain stagnant. And that's why people feel so lost and purposeless in life now. When you rob men of their purpose, they're left with nothing. And the only thing that's left is destruction. Men become super destructive when there's no level of purpose in their lives. Basically become a shell of their potential. And the thing I want you guys to realize is like, the cost of staying soft heavily impacts your future. I'm gonna say it again. The cost of staying soft heavily impacts your future later. You feel what I'm saying? So you're gonna pay a huge price for not being who you truly are and succumbing to what society says about you. Fuck what everybody else gotta say. Be who you are. Now, again, don't misconstrue my words and think that I'm talking about being like a stereotypical macho man who makes masculinity his entire personality, like an Andrew Tate or some shit. If you're a man, do not act like half of these people who are glorified on TV for being soft, for being feminine, like Forrest Gump, like SpongeBob, Peter Griffin, Homer Simpson. We all watch these shows growing up, but the fact of the matter is, this is just media and it's propaganda. It's a network that incentivizes men to be weak. But if you're anything like me, you're far from that, and you don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? You got to understand that you have an innate power within you that needs to be realized, and that innate power is your masculinity as a man to cultivate and create a life for you that benefits not only you but everyone else around you. When without that, you're left hollow. Now, this doesn't mean you have to pretend to be like a David Goggins or some Gary Vee type of individual. It means taking over the best of both worlds. And what I mean by this is that I don't want to put masculine and feminine characteristics into like extremely separate categories in and of itself. You know what I mean? So for example, if some people would consider looking at nature or the sky as feminine, which I kind of get, but like, if you like that, don't think that that makes you feminine entirely. You know what I mean? Or if you are someone who, for example, wears jewelry or earrings, some guys would consider that super feminine, right? Or even getting haircuts. There's extremes to everything, but I want you guys to take away from this is that these things aren't just individual characteristics that you just put into boxes to define yourself. You're just you. So if you're naturally an assertive person and dominant and you are competitive, which are usually associated with masculine traits, then keep that within you. Keep that integrated within you. And if you're not, I'd highly encourage you to do so, because those characteristics in and of itself is going to heavily impact your life in more ways than one, in ways that your father or nobody else has ever taught you. Now, I'm not your daddy. I'm not here to tell you how to become a man. In fact, I'm only 22 and I'm not even like at my fullest potential, but I'm still learning as I go. And these are traits that I've learned from books like The Way of the Superior Man and other online sources and experiences from real life that help me integrate these masculine characteristics characteristics into myself. Now, I will say this, I was fortunate enough to have a father figure in my life, although he is my stepfather. I consider him to be my real dad because my relationship with my father, RIP, was very complicated. So I could say like I'm the exception. I'm fortunate enough to have that, although he wasn't the best. But the thing my dad has helped me with was help me integrate these masculine characteristics within myself, so that way I am who I am to present myself in front of you guys. Like the way I carry myself, my tonality, the way I dress. All in all, don't listen to what these soft, docile, double-chinned, fat, obese motherfuckers are saying about being a man. They have no idea or no inkling of masculinity within them or any balls to drop and say that they are a man because they're afraid of being deemed toxically masculine. Don't listen to these people out there. You know what I'm saying? Be who you are. And here's the thing, guys. I don't really have a concrete answer for you guys on how to behave as a man. All I can do is just give you guys an idea of how I perceive masculinity to be and tell you to be who you are instead of dumbing down yourself just to adhere to other people's expectations of you. But I will leave you with something like this, all right? And before I do, if you have gotten this far into the video, hey, please do me a favor, like and subscribe, because it does help this video get pushed out into the algorithm. So do that for me real quick. But back to what I was saying. I want you to leave this video with a challenge and challenge yourself to stay away from any type of like instant gratification or comfort or any levels of coddling or dumbing yourself down to fit other people's narrative and versions of what they think you should be. So for example, let's say something doesn't go your way. Don't overreact about it. Don't cry about it. Don't point fingers. Learn how to take accountability and move on with life. Find something else that's meaningful for you to do rather than the instant gratification things. For some of you guys who live in single mother households, because I probably have a younger audience, right? If your mother offers you to make you food or something, make your own self food. You feel me? Like just little things like that. I'm not saying that you should reject your mom's cooking. If it's bussin', it's bussin'. But like, it's just little exercises like that that's gonna make you more comfortable with the idea of being more independent and not super reliant on your comfort zone to keep you trapped in that box. And take on challenges to embrace your true masculinity and feel that level of independence that you've probably never felt before. I tell you this because these are things that I've done for myself plenty of time. And once you do that, that's gonna differentiate the boys from the men, because men take on challenges. Men take on things that forces them to grow to become the man that they know they can be, while little boys stay huddled up in a corner ready for the world to eat them up. That's not gonna be you, and that's not any of my viewers that watch me. So if you really are committed to yourself and committed to this idea of growth within yourself, challenge yourself, whatever that looks like. I just gave you minor examples, so take it with what you will. If you guys found value from this, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, dream big, and take action. I'm gonna see you guys. Peace.